It is time for Thompson to Clark. Brad and I are back on a week where, if we look back on the bright side, the Giants did not have a losing week.
Yep.
On the
We'll take
dark
it.
side, they didn't have a winning week either. They split the last six
Yeah.
games since we last talked, which was the Saturday recap of the Baltimore series. And there were moments in the Washington series where you were like, there's actually a little oomph here. There's some passion here. There's the team is, they may have given up the lead, but they were ready to take it back, and then they played with some fire. And then on Sunday, did they get a guy past second base on Sunday? I don't even know if they did.
I don't think so. Sunday was more kind of like they just stayed in the hotel. It kind of felt like, right? I mean, it was just I don't think they got a runner past second, right?
I don't think so.
Because Casey Schmidt had a leadoff double in the 8th, I think it was, or the 9th. And that was kind of it. It was back to boring baseball.
Yeah. And it's not, I don't mean to take away from the goodness of those first two games. You go into Washington and you should beat them if you are a good baseball team. Now, the Giants have not shown that they are a good baseball team yet, but if you want to be a good baseball team, you got to go take 2 out of 3 from Washington. But as a fan who actually has higher expectations than 81 and 81, the way that I looked at that series was like, okay, you won the first game convincingly. Like, you just powered through that team, got into double digits. And we both made the joke of like, come on, guys, you guys always do this, and then you don't save it for the next games, and then you end up not scoring. And then in the second game, they didn't get great pitching, but they were able to score runs when they needed to. So you're like, okay, like that's actually a good sign. But because the Dodgers are coming to town, my thought was, oh man, if they take this third game and they do so in a really strong way, like it actually is going to create some excitement for the Dodgers coming to town, and it's going to give some fans hope and stuff. And then the way that they played Sunday, I was like, oh, this was kind of what I thought was going to happen. But
yeah,
you got to, at this point, we're 22 games into the season. They are in last place. It's 22 or 20. I think it's 22.
Yeah,
they're in last place, tied with the Rockies, and the Dodgers, Padres, and Diamondbacks are all playing pretty darn good baseball. And I went to see the Padres on Tuesday night. Got to see Petco. Hadn't been Petco in over 10 years, and that's a really nice ballpark. It's a fun spot, and the weather in San Diego is always good. So how can you not be in a great mood when you're out there? But I watched that team and I was like, man, they have an offense that I wish the Giants were a little bit more like. Now, of course, they have Tatis and they have Machado, and Ramon Laureano is like playing out of his mind right now. But you have guys like Jackson Merrill, who he can hit for power and he can run, and he's very exciting. And they were doing a lot of stuff, because I was explaining to Crystal the pickoff moves and why. She's like, how come they can only throw over there twice? And so I was kind of going through the rules with her. And so she was actually watching for steals. She's like, okay, I'm going to watch for steals. And so just the threat of San Diego being able to run with, half of their lineup is cool. And then I looked at the Giants' stolen bases. They have 5 stolen bases in the first 22 games, and they are dead last. I don't think anyone has less than 10 in the National League. And so it's just these teams are built so differently. Like the Dodgers are mashers, and the Padres can actually do a little bit of both. And I haven't really watched much Diamondbacks to see what they're doing offensively. But the Giants are hit singles and station to station.
Yeah.
And it's really been the opposite of what they want to be, yet the roster that they put together is that. So We'll talk a little bit about kind of where the offense is and whether they can improve or if this is just kind of who they are at the back end of this show. But I just going to see the Padres live, I was like, even though I'm sure the Padres fans do not have faith in the Padres winning in the playoffs, that is a very fun team to watch play baseball. Now they could use if you put the Padres offense with the Giants starting pitching, you probably have a team that could compete with the Dodgers. The Padres bullpen, I'd take their bullpen right now way over bullpen.
Yeah.
The closer that they do, and then they have the right-handed eighth inning guy. Is it Adams? Is it Jason?
Jason Adams? Yeah.
And then they have the lefty, Morejon, and he's just throwing fire, sinker ball, just throwing gas. Like that, if they get some starting pitching, they may have a chance to compete. So just watching another team and then comparing them to your team, it was kind of an interesting exercise for me.
That's also a team that we beat 2 out of 3 a couple weeks ago. We
did.
And speaking of a couple of weeks ago, I think we did a show 2 weeks ago, and I was touting that the Giants were middle of the pack in stolen bases. They had 5 2 weeks ago. They have 5 2 weeks later. So, yeah, the running has just stopped. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to watch sometimes.
I think something happened with Brad's mic here. He went on mute.
I got it back.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I can.
All right, cool. My hands, because I'm so angry, I hit the cable. This team, when they go on a tear offensively for 3 straight games, you think, okay, we've turned a corner. Things are starting to turn on. But then you look and you still see that Devers still has 2 home runs, and Adames still has 2 home runs. So it's offense, but it's singles, doubles. And then the other night they had 3 home runs in one game, but that's so few and far between. You're just not seeing the home runs coming. So it's and like you said yesterday too, we were talking on the chat, and you said it's kind of a false offensive explosion. And I thought, no, I don't think it is, because if they can minimize the bad games they have in between, maybe it's not. But then when you look deeper into it and you start looking at how they're scoring runs, I mean, yeah, they had 15 hits one night, and I think they had 13 the next day. But again, they're not getting the murderous 3-run home run in the 8th inning to go up by 6. It just breaks the will of the other team.
Yeah.
It's not a scary offense, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
And the Giants teams of the past that even won World Series teams, they didn't really hit that 3-run homer to put games away either. But then what they had was a bullpen that was like, 3-1, 3-2, this game is over. It doesn't just get us past 6 and we're shutting this thing down. And they don't have that right now. So every time, we've been kind of in the chats when the Giants are up by a run or 2 late, we're like, who's shutting this one down? Because we have no idea who's going to close. And then Ryan Walker comes in, and I know he had to stretch a little bit, and that that didn't work out when he got stretched. But I don't think Vitello knows who his guy is. I don't think he knows who he can believe in late in the games. And maybe his 2 best arms are Killian and Wynn, but they've never been in that role. Wynn's coming off of an injury. You could look at Tidwell. Tidwell's super young, and he's actually a starter who's relieving. So, I don't see any one person who's going to be the 9th inning guy.
Well, and the thing with that too is if you're looking at the future, and a lot of these guys are young pieces in the bullpen. So if you're going to have them learn on the job, you got to start now. I mean, give them a full season of learning on the job to the point where you go into spring training next season and you say, this is our closer. He learned on the job. It's a little rocky to begin with, but then later in the season, shut everybody down, is the closer. And yeah, we thought we had that in Ryan Walker at the end of 2024. But then 2025 started and things kind of blew up. But again, we only had Ryan Walker August and September of 2024. So you don't really have that full season closer experience. And again, I think we went over this like last month or so. I don't know around when we had a closer that we could sit there and go, this is our closer for the next 2 seasons, 3 seasons. Because even Camilo Duvall, when he was our closer, he still had rough patches, and we still were never sure if this was going to be the guy. And then he gets traded. So yeah, it's kind of tough. It's when you look at the good teams, and you look at the teams that are going to the playoffs, and you look at the teams that are winning World Series, take the Dodgers out of it because they have enough offense to win a World Series. That's not a big deal for them. And they also have enough, piece together starting pitching. You can have Yamamoto close out the last game of the World Series, just like we had Bumgarner in 2014. So, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have a 40 save guy to be your closer. But if you have a battle-tested closer who does have 40 saves 2 seasons in a row, that's the guy you want to trust in Game 7 of the World Series. You're bringing in your horse. You're bringing in that guy. You don't want to say, I'm going to bring in this guy and let's see what happens because he did well in matchups in late May. And then a little bit in June, and then a little bit in September. He was good against lefties, and we've got 3 lefties coming up. I'd rather have a guy who's seen lefties and righties throughout the season, gotten himself 40 saves, 35, 40 saves, and then can come in and shut the door. I'm not saying that we're going to be in Game 7 of the World Series this year, but I'm saying next year and the year after, and that's our aim. That's kind of what we're going for.
I know that Randy Rodriguez is a guy, but I still, even last year, I was jokingly calling him 8th inning Randy because I was just more comfortable with him in the 8th inning than I was in the 9th inning. But you could see them possibly thinking about him as a guy to be the 9th inning guy. So going back to your closer thought, because one of the pieces of news today in all of baseball was Edwin Diaz going on the DL. And I was reading up on some Dodgers stuff yesterday, and they were really worried about him because the last time he came in, which was, I don't know if it was the second or the third game of the Rockies series, but it was basically he didn't come into a save role. And they said his fastball was down to 92 miles an hour.
Wow.
Now it sounds like he's still got some trouble with that knee that went out on him in that last World Baseball Classic. Like, I don't know if it's the same injury or if it's just a different injury in the same leg, but they mentioned that. But also now he's got this elbow injury. So you could go, well, why don't we just go buy a closer? And the Dodgers just went and bought one of the best closers in baseball, and now his arm is jacked up. Not everyone is going to have a Mason Miller who is like maybe the best closer that we've seen in a little while.
Yeah, but they do. That's the thing, though. They built up their bullpen enough where now they've got Alex Vesia or they've got Tanner Scott, who have
show me Tanner Scott. Me and Patrick Bailey want to see Tanner Scott.
I know that's true. That's true. I did. I'm in 2 fantasy leagues, and I hovered over picking them up in one of them today. I was just I had my finger over it. And I was like, I'm just going to do it. So I grabbed him, and I ended up dropping the Astros makeshift closer that they have right now. Not Abreu, but the other guy De Los Santos, who's just, I don't know. But I thought, you know what? I want to go with the team who's winning, because a guy like Tanner Scott is going to come into situations where he's got a 2-run lead. But the thing too is, if they blow a save, the Dodgers in the 9th, and now you got a tie game going to extra innings. If you're a Dodger fan, do you feel good about your chances in extras? I sure would. I mean, it's watching us try to get a runner home from second the other night in 3 extra innings. It was painful. I mean, against the Nationals, we were so lucky to have Caleb Killian out there along with Wynn to be able to shut down. And we were lucky that the Nationals were inept also in extra innings trying to get a runner home. But watching us try to get a runner home was so painful. I know if you're a Dodger fan, you're sitting there going, oh, we're bottom of the 10th inning and we have a runner at second, automatic runner at second. I think we're probably going to win this game. A 90% chance they're going to win that game.
Yeah, and we'll look at as we look at the Giants offense, I'll use the Dodgers as a comparison because these teams are so vastly different. And of course, we know that based on the spend of both teams, but it is incredible the delta in between these two teams when it comes to certain statistical categories.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, Dodgers coming to town, game 1 Tuesday. It may rain, actually. I've been seeing some stuff about, could get rained out.
We're supposed to get snow here in Tahoe, I think, tomorrow. So I can't even imagine what the Bay Area is going to be like.
Is it Yamamoto and Shohei for game 1 and game 2? I saw that somewhere, but I wasn't sure.
They still have to be determined. So I don't know if they've officially announced it, but I would imagine we're going to see those guys at some point during this series, because I think they're supposedly lining up. But again, those are two guys that they want to have on 6-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they have 6 men right now, though, because Blake Snell is still on the IL.
If the game does get rained out, it probably helps them a little bit so they can
position
their guys.
Yeah, because now you're looking at probably a double header on, what is that?
Wednesday
or Thursday, most likely. Well, probably not on a getaway day. Probably on Wednesday they'll do a doubleheader. Yeah,
that's interesting. If they do, we haven't seen a doubleheader in a long time out here.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So the Giants are going to throw Roop, Molly, and Webb. I believe that is what is scheduled. And Logan Webb has not been good this year. Or not, at least to what we believe or what we expect from him. He did have the WBC stint, and so I'm sure that is something that Buster Posey is going to remind him, then just in case he wants to pitch in the WBC again. Maybe not, because it's still a few years away.
Yeah,
but I think they need him, and this would be a great game for him to get back to his old self. I'm really worried about the Molly start. And maybe he'll surprise us, but it sounds like 3 innings, and then you're using up your whole bullpen to finish that game, and you're hoping Logan goes 9. But Roop has been a great surprise, so he looks like he's competitive. That curveball will probably be competitive against the Dodgers, but it'll be kind of like an eye opener for him to go like, okay, like, this is a team I got to be ready for. Not that he hasn't pitched against the Dodgers before, but now there's expectation around him.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of confidence against the Dodgers, and he gets up for big games. So I'm looking forward to that. Malley and Hauser have not had, what have they had, 7 starts and not one single quality start.
I think one of those was not really Hauser's fault. Like, I think he was very. If I remember, the Giants made some errors behind him or something, which caused him to come out early. But so my thought is, it's kind of funny because when you think, okay, Dodgers are coming here, we need to take 2 out of 3. But it's almost like the expectation for the Giants is just get 1 and it's not a failed series, which is crazy, right? That's not how we usually think about this.
I agree. I mean, we were talking about it today, and I like to do, just for fun, I'm not a big AI person, but I like ChatGPT for that type of stuff because, it pulls from a bunch of different sports sources, but I put it in there today just to say, what are our chances? And it was pretty much like, you'd be lucky to get 1 out of 3. But that 1 out of 3 could be the Logan Webb start. But they said you could also, ChatGPT said we could also maybe steal one. The Roop start is a possibility that we could steal one if he can keep it under 3 runs, like 2 or less runs. The Dodgers do have big innings. I was looking at Fangraphs today. It's not pretty. I mean, when you look at it, it's just it's kind of rough to look at when you look at hitting. You look at the Dodgers versus the Giants. The Dodgers have 37 home runs, and we have 13. They've scored 121 runs. We've scored 75. When you look at the WRC plus, they're at 138, which is worlds above anybody else, and we're at 86. So offensively, it is one of those things. You just have to have good pitching against the Dodgers. You have to shut them down offensively if you're going to have any chance. Because especially us, offensively, are we going to win 7-6 ball games against the Dodgers? I don't think so. Against the Nationals, sure, but against the Dodgers, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to roll off 7 runs, I think, a game.
And I would imagine Vitello understands that, which means to me that I wonder if he's going to manage these games a little bit more like you would not really a playoff game, but just
like
with
a pitcher's duel,
right? That you have to shut, we have to shut these possible rallies down, because if not, this game could get away from us. Right. And so that is a really interesting thing that I want to see, is how seriously, because it is only game 23 through game 25, right? So, you cannot just go, okay, we got to use our 3 best relievers to get out of this 1 inning on Tuesday. And then what are you going to do for Thursday, Friday? You do have to be smart about it. You have to trust some guys. But I do wonder if he's going to manage this one a little bit more closely to how you would manage a big game versus, some of the stuff that we've seen where he lets the starter go out there and basically kill himself, like Molly in his last start.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude is still in the game. And I was like, I guess they're just, he's kind of punting it in a sense, right? Which is to save for the last game, which they did win that third game. So
I'm going to make a comparison here to the soccer heads out there. If there's, people, if you're a sports fan, you follow baseball, you probably follow a little bit of soccer as well. But it's kind of like when you have one of the weaker teams go against a big team like Man City in the Premier League. So if you have a weaker team like Stoke, you're going to what they call park the bus. And that's, you're going to put your defense, play back, play in front of the goal. Don't let the big, powerful team score. Then that way, if you happen to get a breakaway, maybe you can steal a goal or two, and then maybe you can pull off a 1-0 upset or a 2-1 upset. But you're going to play defense, and you're going to stay back and try to do everything you can to not let them score. And I know baseball, that's the name of the game, but that it's not like soccer where in baseball you can expect pitchers are going to give up 1 or 2 runs a game. They're having a fantastic season. This kind of feels tighter than that. If we're giving up 2 runs a game or 3 runs a game, it's going to be a very difficult series. So like you said, I think it's going to be more of the park the bus mentality. You could see a runner at third and the infield drawn in the first inning. I wouldn't be shocked to see something like that.
So the Giants play the Dodgers, then the Marlins come to town. Now the Marlins are so far a good home team and a bad road team. So you would hope that as long as the Giants get through this series with the Dodgers intact, that they could then turn around and take 2 out of 3 from the Marlins. But again, if we are out and out trying to win these games, and maybe they're a little bit more important, and we use some bullpen, that may not be great for the Marlins series. So again, this is one of the things that, it's going to be very interesting to see how Vitello manages this series, because there are going to be implications for the next series, depending on how much they tax their pen. So I wanted to look at the offense, and I wanted to get your thoughts on what could be improved, what is probably going to be the same. They may have to make some decisions as far as adjusting the roster. It's not like there's anybody in the pipeline right now, though, in 2 years there could be. But outside of Bryce Eldridge, who, as we've discussed, is kind of hard to add to this team without changing fundamentally how this team plays. So, Adames leads the team in home runs with 3. I think the Dodgers have like 7 or 8 guys who have at least 3 home runs.
Yeah, easily.
When I looked at the RBI numbers, it's actually kind of interesting because so far I think we would kind of think that Ramos's year has been a disappointment. He does lead the team in strikeouts. Actually, no, he's second behind Devers, but he does have 13 RBI. We know some of RBI is luck, but he and Chapman have 13 and 12. And the average now, this is a back of the baseball card stat. Who do you think leads the team in batting average? And Danny Susak is not available because he doesn't have enough ABs.
I'm looking at the numbers now, so I'm cheating.
It is Casey Schmidt, which is kind of surprising because he started off so poorly, and yet he has been picking it up. Now, he doesn't have much in the way of tremendous power numbers, but he does have 7 doubles. And he doesn't walk, which is part of the problem. But
that's everybody's problem on the Giants right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's playable, right? Like, he's definitely playable, and because he is actually hitting, you kind of got to get him in. Like, his OPS is 120 points higher than Adames's, and then then it goes down from there. And the Giants only have 4 guys who are over 700 in OPS. Arice is, he's doing Arice stuff. He's hitting 305. Not much power. He's only got 1 double and 2 triples and 22 singles. So, like I said, they just play this station to station ball. Like, is there anything that you're seeing that will adjust or that will even out or that things will change a little bit? Because I think of the person that we were hoping that would kind of maybe step up and with Arice kind of take the style of Arice is Jung-Hoo Lee, and he's hitting 244 and 299 on base. Now, he's not striking out a lot. He's actually, decent with the strikeouts, but he's got 6 doubles and 13 singles and 1 home run, or 12 singles and 1 home run. It's like if you came into the season expecting him to play up to the value of his contract, you are vastly disappointed in this scenario. Like, is there anything you're seeing that gives you any thoughts that this could change?
Well, I just want to defend Jung-Hoo Lee a little bit, but not the contract, because he's not playing to the contract still. But over the last week and a half, he's hitting 344. He's had a fantastic road trip. But, again, no power numbers, because we thought coming into this, after the contract, he's going to be a 15 to 20 home run guy. He's going to steal a lot of bases. He's going to get on base, play a lot of defense. Well, right now, he's Luis Ariz, but he plays right field and, makes great plays in right field. That's pretty much it the last week or so. We need to see that sustained. I mean, I think the basic, what we're going to see here is, let me jump back to get the actual dates going here. You're not going to see Devers slug 315 the rest of the season. You're not going to see Ramos slug 385. I think he's going to, and now Ramos is streaky. We're going to see that, kind of come and go. Chapman is hitting 290. Still just 1 home run. Yeah, he's been fine. But again, I just, these power numbers are going to go up because you've got Adames, Chapman, Ramos, Devers. If you add Eldridge into the mix, is that going to make a huge difference? I don't know. He has 1 home run, or does he even have a home run? I'm not even sure he has a home run in AAA yet. But he is mashing the ball. I mean, everything coming off of his bat has been very high exit velocity.
And they need to
I
bring
just think
Johnny Level up if they want
yeah.
some power.
Well, and
Just tearing
again,
it up in San
in a
Jose.
couple of seasons, I think next season we might see him.
Yeah,
Especially it depends on what Arise is going to do. Can you
yeah.
re-sign Arise after this season? Do you want to re-sign him after this season? I don't really know, but I know the power numbers are going to go up, and I think that's going to make a big difference. The other big difference is that the Giants just need to be more patient. They need to work more. They're doing a good job of working counts, but the end product after the working counts is weak contact for an out or a single or a double. If you're going to work the count, I'd like to see a home run come out of it, or I'd like to see a walk come out of it. Something to just kind of keep things moving, because weak contact outs that we're seeing after like 6 or 7 pitch at bats, or a strikeout after 6 or 7 pitch at bats, it's disheartening. Yeah, you're working the pitcher, you're getting him deeper into counts, you're getting his pitch count up, but you're just not getting a tremendous end result. Even now and then you're just getting too many, maybe a single, most likely a weak rollover ground out to second or third. It's just hard. It's hard to see the power not there. Then you're coming home playing the Dodgers in possibly rough weather, so I don't know if we're going to see any more home runs during
Well,
this 3-game
it
series.
if it's dreary and windy and maybe even a little wet, that might actually help the Giants because that'll probably
Yeah.
stop the ball from going out of the park even more.
That's what I was thinking about today too. I was thinking if it is bad weather, I was going to ask you, does that favor us in our ballpark? The way we hit the ball, does that favor us? And I think it might, because we're
Well, I think
singles,
we have
doubles,
to
hitters.
actually hit the ball if well, I mean, if
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yamamoto, Otani, and Glass now are all strikeout pitchers, so
Right.
they do have to hit the ball and hit it hard and hit it in the gaps, and these are
That's
if those are the 3 starters, good luck. Maybe Glass
yeah.
now can be inconsistent, but he's had a really good start to his season.
That's the one thing we're better at than the Dodgers offensively this season, is we have a lower strikeout rate.
Mm-hmm.
But again, if you're getting weak contact and you're grounding into double plays instead of striking out, is that benefiting you? I don't think so. I mean, in certain situations, I'd rather have a strikeout than a ground and a double play.
Oh, I mean, almost in every situation, unless it was 2 outs. But
Yeah.
the
Or
you
you've
know
got
what
a
the,
runner at third. Yeah.
yeah, you know what's interesting about this is if we go back to the Gabe Kapler and Farhan mentality, it was take a lot of pitches, look for walks, swing for the fences. We'll take the strikeouts. Don't worry about the strikeouts. And then Buster Posey, when he came in, he was like, no, we need to go back to making contact. We need to go back to putting the ball in play. We need to go back to making things happen. And so what you see right now is just like what you said, they're not striking out a lot, but they're also not creating runs with their contact, because a team that we like to look at when it comes to their ability to create runs is the Milwaukee Brewers.
Mm-hmm.
The Milwaukee Brewers, as a team, are hitting 232. The Giants are hitting 251. Yet, when it comes to runs scored, the Brewers have scored 106 runs and the Giants have scored 75.
Jeez.
And a big part of that, now, I haven't pieced this together exactly, but a big part of it is that they have also walked 109 times, and the Giants have walked 43 times so far. By far worse than the National League.
Yeah.
So that strikeout total, like you said, is on the lower end of the National League. They're actually they strike out the least in the National League, and they walk so far, below almost everybody else. It is incredible. And then you look at stolen bases. The Brewers have 33 stolen bases. They have been caught more times than the Giants have stolen bases.
Jeez.
Like, they've been caught 8 times. Giants have 5 stolen bases. So, this idea of Buster saying, we need to put the ball in play, we need to make things happen. I think in theory that's great if he's thinking about himself because that's who he was. But maybe not the best usage of his roster to have that mentality. Maybe they do need to work the count and wait for 3-1 fastballs instead of swinging at the first pitch because they don't want to get behind in the count or whatever the mentality is. Like, I know, it's hard to know exactly when you're not there, but just look at the on base percentage. The Giants the New York Mets have lost 11 games in a row, and the Giants are barely higher than them in overall on base percentage. And it's just like, wow, like, what is going to change? And, I'm like you. I hope that some of these warning track fly balls turn into home runs. In the summer, we know the Giants ballpark will probably play a little better for that.
Yeah.
But they are also so streaky that it happens in bunches and then the next day it doesn't happen at all. And that's kind of been the recipe for the last couple of years they swing big and it looks like we're coming out of this. And then the next game they get shut out. So that is something to look at. Now, I mentioned the delta between the Giants and the Dodgers, and, we'll just look at this quickly because this is really bad stuff. 37 homers to 13, 119 RBI to 91. 80 walks to the Giants, 43. The Dodgers themselves don't really steal bases, but it's because they hit so many home runs. They only have 11 stolen bases. Batting, yeah, they don't need it. Batting average, they're hitting 288. Giants are hitting 251. Again, the Giants are not hitting poorly from a batting average perspective, but it's just when you get to the OPS, the Dodgers are 853, 857 OPS. And the Giants are 658, third from the worst in the National League. So from an offensive standpoint, these are two completely different teams. It's almost like, going back to your soccer theory, it almost is like, the really, really good team against the bad, or the lesser team. And then how do you play that game? How do you keep them out of the park? What are some ways that you can try and, do we have to, I don't know, put some spit on the ball? I don't know what the pitchers can do to stop them from
raise the fences just for this series.
Yeah, like you just have a button and the thing goes up when the Dodgers are hitting and it comes down when the Giants are hitting.
Like what was the old Metrodome theory when the Twins were up to bat? The theory was that somebody had turned the fans on. Remember, they had those gigantic fans,
yeah,
and that they blew out towards the outfield, and then when the other team was hitting, they turned the fans off. I love that theory. It wasn't true, obviously, but it was so fun baseball lore.
So my hope is that the Giants compete. Like, I mean, you would want them to win 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
But if they win one game by the skin of their teeth and they get smoked in 2 games, like, I'm not going to be happy about that. If they win 2 and they lose 1, no matter how that happens, I'll be happy about that. But what I want to see is if they can play with these guys. And I'm the way that they're playing right now, I'm not sure that they can, though. Again, Diaz is hurt. So there's that. They're going to have to deal with that from a bullpen perspective. But when you have 3 right-handers who just strike guys out, that's a good recipe for them. And our guys are more along the lines of, Logan Webb's sinker baller, so they're going to make some contact. Giants defense is going to have to be solid. They're going to have to play good baseball. Devers is going to have to stop dropping balls, trying to stretch out. And it's just those small things, right? Those are the things that they just going to have to play clean baseball. Yeah. So what do you want to see happen? What do you expect to see happen this week?
And again, I'd love to see 2 out of 3. Baseball's so weird. You got 162 games. Giants are the lesser team against the Dodgers. This is probably going to be one of those series where the Giants take 2 out of 3 or sweep them because it's just weird. That's just kind of the way baseball goes sometimes. But I would be happy to get the Logan Wynn game as a victory, and then sneak one out with Landon Roop on Tuesday night. So bookend Tuesday and Thursday wins, and then Wednesday see what happens. But I'd be very happy with 2 out of 3. I'm expecting 1 out of 3, but I'd be very happy and ecstatic if we took 2 out of 3.
All right, let's do it.
I'm not getting greedy. I'm not saying we need a sweep. I'm not. Do you hear that, baseball gods? I'm not getting greedy. I'm just asking for 2 out of 3. It's nothing outlandish. Maybe we hit 5 home runs in the series. That'd be nice, right? Because we went into Cincinnati, Great American Small Park, and we hit 1 home run in a 3-game series, and it was like 80 degrees 2 of those games too. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to be on the road because I'll be on a road trip, or not a road trip, a work trip. I'll be in Dallas of all places.
Ooh, Dallas.
And so I'll probably only barely have my phone on to see how the Giants are doing until Friday when I'll be back home. And then we have the NFL draft on Thursday. And wait, do the Rams even have first round pick?
They do. They got number 13.
Okay.
That
was from a trade, right?
That was in the Falcons trade, and the Falcons were not a great team this year, and then the Rams went into Atlanta and lost. So not only did they lose to the bad Falcon team, they also hurt their draft stats. It was a terrible game.
Well, where do you think they're gonna? What position do you think they're gonna look to?
I think they're looking. Everything I've seen is Mekhi Lemon, the USC wide receiver. So, you know how McVay loves his toys at wide receiver, but and that's because they made the trades, the free agency pickup for corners, both corners from the Chiefs. So I think that can afford them to go and look at wide receiver at number 13. So that'll be interesting. Well, that starts Thursday night, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I don't know. I don't usually follow most of the draft stuff until the Rams make their picks. And then I go online and I really kind of delve into these guys and see what they're all about. So
yeah, I did a little bit of research because Rod and I did our little draft preview last night, and the Niners historically, they're mostly looking to add to the defensive line or pass rusher or wide receiver. So we'll see if they kind of do the same thing or if they actually invest in their offensive line in a high pick for once, which they've only done once in the last semi. I forget whenever they drafted McGlinchey.
And they just signed Trent Williams, right?
They re-signed Trent Williams. So. That was going to be a done deal anyways.
Yeah,
it's just they always have to do this dance with him seemingly every year. So
we're doing that with Stafford right now because I got the alert today that they are making progress and getting close to an extension with Stafford.
Has he threatened retirement during this time?
No, because he won an MVP, and then when he won the MVP up on stage, he basically said, I'm very excited to come back next season and battle again with the boys. So
there you go.
He's not pulling a Garoppolo.
Jimmy G lives a life, man. I think because it was always the story was that the day the season ended, Jimmy G was like, peace out. And Kittle was like, yeah, like that dude would not return any texts until the season started, the following, the following fall.
Yeah.
And so, that had to be maddening for someone like Shanahan, who's like, just football 24/7. But Jimmy G was like, hey, February or March through July, I'm just doing me. and now he's got enough money to where he can just do him for 12 months out of the year. He doesn't have to worry about football anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's the thing. Now he's just been carrying a clipboard for Stafford the last couple of seasons, so he hasn't had to do much. But I mean, I say that, but these guys are they're taking reps and they're still working, and you got to work out and you've got to do everything. So if he's done with that life, then good for him. I mean, it's been 12 seasons, so the Rams could find another backup somewhere because I don't think they're drafting a quarterback this year to eventually take over for Stafford because after Mendoza isn't the quarterback class.
Yeah, and it drops off. Yeah.
So yeah.
He's still pretty handsome though, that Jimmy G.
He is. Yeah. And he's an LA guy. I mean, that's his look and his everything he's got going for him. He's looks like an LA guy through and through. So, yeah.
All right, that is it from here. We'll be back next week. We'll either be crowing about how well the Giants played, or we'll be very sad about how well or how poorly the Giants played. We'll see.
If we can get a 4-2 week, I'd be very happy.
That would be excellent. All right. That is it from here. For Brad, I am Double G. See you when we see you. Peace out.
Peace.